Welcome back to GearWire.com. I'm Owen O'Malley, and this is the TC Electronic Hall of Fame Reverb pedal. I was introduced at the last Winter NAMM a couple months ago as part of TC's tone print line. The Hall of Fame Reverb ships with a USB cable, so you can hook it up to your computer and download different tone print settings from the internet. Some of them are designed by TC Electronics, some of them are designed by guest artists, but they increase the number of potential sounds nearly by infinity. We'll check out how tone print works in a second, but first let's see the range of really cool tones that this pedal ships with. So of the four main knobs we've got here, if we take a look at the knob on the lower right, this is our mode selector. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different reverb modes, not even counting the tone print setting. Right now we're on the room setting, which is supposed to emulate a well-furnished room of varying size. We're listening in stereo right now. We've got our pedal hooked up to an AC-15 and a Fender Pro Junior 3. And you can see it's stereo in as well as stereo out. So you can put this pedal after stereo pedals and maintain the stereo integrity of your stereo signal. Stereo! Okay, so these three controls right here, decay, tone, and effects level, as well as the pre-delay toggle switch right here, are all the same for the first 10 settings. They can change depending on what tone print preset you download, but they're pretty much the same for all the other effects that are preloaded. So let's just give a listen to the preloaded effects. So here we are on the room setting. Okay, and you can hear that there is actually quite a range on the decay here. You can hear that there is a direct signal coming through. The direct or dry signal is always at unity. And effect basically just changes the volume of the wet signal. So, huge amount of decay range right there. Let's just hear what the pre-delay does to our sound. We've only got short or long, so here's short pre-delay. Here's long. Just kind of adds a little bit of distance, gives the feeling of a slightly larger space, a little bit more time before you get those first reflections on the reverb. Kind of gives you the illusion of an arena or some other super large venue. And then your tone control obviously changes the tone of the reverb. Okay, let's move on to some other reverbs here. We'll keep our effect level sort of at maybe 60% here, and our decay right in the middle here. Moving on from room, we have hall. Okay, much longer delay there, different tonal signature. We've got a spring reverb here, which basically just emulates the type of reverb tank you'd find in many amplifiers. All right, here's our plate reverb. Okay, and now we've got church reverb. Really awesome sounding reverb. Now let's go on to some of our sort of more effected reverb. First one we've got here is mod. Basically just leaves your dry signal alone still, but applies a mod effect, sort of a chorus effect, to the reverb. Really cool for volume swells. This next one's called lo-fi. Pay attention to the reverb tail itself. Okay, it's kind of like artifacty and sort of strange sounding. Just kind of another flavor. Now we've got tile, which sort of sounds like, well, it sounds like you're in a bathroom. Then we've got ambience. This is a really cool one because it just adds a very subtle amount of reverb. Let's just leaving the decay alone, let's listen. If you're in the same room as an amp, you might not even hear the difference between your unaffected and affected signal. So let's turn it off. Kind of neat. Just adds a little bit of ambience. It's a great tool if you're recording and you want to sort of give your dead bedroom recording setup a little bit more air. We've got a gate reverb. This is kind of weird. It's supposed to emulate the sound of a quick gated reverb like you'd find on a snare drum reverb. So applied to guitar, it's a little bit more avant-garde. Crank it up so you can really hear. You hear it almost kind of like comes in and out, and it's a little bit strange. So now let's move on to the tone print. The tone print that comes preloaded with the Hall of Fame reverb right out of the box is sort of a variation on the spring reverb, sort of a slightly differently voiced spring reverb, a little bit more, a little bit brighter. But we've downloaded a different one. It's called a ducking verb, and this is it's a very subtly ducking reverb that has a little bit of a vibrato in the tail. Listen to this thing, it's really kind of cool sounding. Really, really classy, well-designed tone print. There's a bunch of them online. They're all downloadable for free. Basically, the way that you update your pedal with a new tone print setting is that you plug it into your computer with the provided USB cable. Although it's a non-proprietary connection on the back of the Hall of Fame and all the tone print pedals. So even if you lose that USB cable, it's pretty easy to get a replacement. And then you just go onto the TC Electronic website, go to the tone prints section, download your tone print, and with your pedal connected, just click on update on the little sort of mini app that it installs on your desktop. And that's it. And you can use it to A/B between your two most recent downloaded tone print settings. You can even download the default tone print setting that ships with the pedal. It's very, very easy to update. Now, hidden inside the Hall of Fame reverb, if you open the battery compartment, which is really easy to open because it's the same chassis as the Polytune, you'll see there's a couple of dip switches here. Now, one of the dip switches switches between true bypass or buffered bypass. True bypass is what you want to use if you've got a few pedals in front of an amp and not a very long cable run, and you want to have the least colored sound possible. The default setting is true bypass. Now, buffered bypass is the setting you want to use if either you've got a ton of pedals in a pedal board or a super long cable run. It basically just preserves the integrity, actively preserves the integrity of the signal in a more complicated setup or a more complex setup. It takes a little bit of experimenting between buffered and true bypass to see which tone works best with your specific setup. The bottom dip switch switches between kill dry. Now, kill dry only works in buffered bypass, and you can turn kill dry on to completely eliminate the dry output of the pedal, and that's the setting you want to use if you put the reverb pedal in an effects loop. In effects loop, you're going to get your dry signal, and then your effects loop sort of summed into that signal, and so you don't want to have, or you don't have a need for, an additional dry signal, so you just kill it with that second dip switch. The Hall of Fame Reverb is available from most retailers for about $150. Got a pretty wide range of great sounding reverbs, and thanks to TonePrint, you can sort of continuously experiment with new presets, new artist settings, new TC Electronics settings, and have a reverb pedal that continues to grow with you. Or maybe you could also say a reverb pedal that will continue to surprise you. Maybe you could also say a reverb pedal that always sounds fresh. Or maybe, You've been watching GearWire.com. I'm Owen O'Malley. Thanks for checking us out.